In this video, I thought it would be a really good idea to show you which markers are the best and which are the worst by purchasing every single marker on the planet. Alcohol marker, that is. And unsurprisingly, turned out to be the most expensive video I've ever made! In for the penny, in for the pound. Let's get stuck into it. I thought this was a good idea a while ago. When did I first start recording this video? I need to check now. 21st of January. 21st of January. Markers are expensive, even the cheap ones. But I'm doing it, and I'm doing it for you. With the goal for me to try and use and share my experience comparing every single alcohol marker head to head. I want to share the process of obtaining them, because that was a journey in and of itself. So I turn to you guys for help on Twitter. Name every alcohol marker you've ever heard of, used, or want to use. Anko brand. Hoo-hoo markers. I think that's the one I got. Oh, no, these are EO markers. Who's naming these brands? A hoo-hoo. EO. Guess I'm buying a hoo-hoo. What are these? AENART. This is going to be an expensive video. I have a feeling this Touch brand is quartering the market. We got Touch markers. Touch 5, Touch New, Touch 3, Touch Me, Touch 10. I'm going to cry. Artix. Oh no, okay, they're a thing. Keyboard. There are more. Why does this keep going? I thought I'd be done half an hour ago. Yosu. Is it a real marker brand? Of course it is. I think that'll do. Fast forward 5 months. Some of them arrived very quickly. Some of them just arrived. This is what $3,500 of alcohol markers looks like. Express. Just a few interesting tidbits along the purchasing journey that you might find interesting. Oh, one is that I've had to replace 2 credit cards that have been fraudulently stolen. Don't try this at home, because I've had to go into some seedy black marketplaces to get some of these and had to do some really compromising things. The other issue is postage is very expensive. So often, especially with the cheaper brands, postage has been way more expensive than the markers themselves. On top of that, a lot of these don't ship to Australia. So we've actually had to set up a postage system where we have a place that we ship to, that we get shipped to from there to here, which, believe it or not, costs money. Not only was it obscenely expensive, but it's also then something I need to do something with. But you know what? We're here, so we might as well have a little bit of fun. The way to make it interesting and entertaining for you guys as well as informative is to turn it into a fight to the death. I created a gauntlet for each of the marker brands to face, all of them on the same turf with all of the same trials. First, one marker at a time, we play with the tips. We see how they blend on paper and experiment with how they mix in a loose way, and then we get a bit more rigid. Can I get a consistent, flat and even tone over a large area? Can I make an aesthetically pleasing single blend? Can I make a complementary color blend? Can I make a contrasting color blend? How does it work if I use them to create gradient and fill in details? And then to make it interesting, we make it competitive. What's the fight type called when you got the 2 and then they fight and the winner fights the winner from the other 2? Do you know, is that a type of fight? They're called bracket tables. That's the most uninteresting title for the process of elimination. Elimination! That's better. This is it, people. This has never been done before for many very good reasons that I've discovered painfully. But here we are. Now, the last time we did a fight to the death, it was another marker video and another video sponsored by Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. And I think they keep getting naturally paired to the fight to the death videos because we like to make them very dramatic. And editing in DaVinci Resolve is amazing because you can make everything dramatic and it's free. DaVinci Resolve combines editing, color correction, VFX, and audio editing all in one software. The audio editing is like its standalone amazing audio program with amazing features. The visual effects editing matches everything that After Effects could do, and the color correction is my favorite thing about editing now, and I never knew I would love it so much until I switched to Resolve. The cut page is a feature out in recent versions of Resolve aimed at beginners and simplicity. It's perfect for people who are brand new to editing or for people who really just want to skip to the simplicity to knock something out nice and quick and effectively. Resolve really ticks every single box. It's feature film and television show quality, and it's done countless commercials and films like Bohemian Rhapsody, shows like The Walking Dead, Rocketman, Avatar. All these guys use Resolve or their color correction, but you really do get everything you need in the free version, which I'll link to in the description. If you haven't checked out Resolve, you're really missing out. I love it, you'll love it. The link is in the description. Speaking of love it, let's find out which of these is going to come out on top. It's time for Marker Madness. 58 marker brands enter for the title of the best alcohol marker of all time, and only one will stand on top at the end. Starting off with our first match, Prismacolor Premier markers will go head-to-head against Stylefile markers. Prismacolor qualities in general was very top-notch, really high-quality ink and saturation and quality of colour overall, where the Stylefile didn't have as nice colour and also the nib quality wasn't as good. In this round, Prismacolor comes out on top. In the next round, Chameleon faces off against Montimart. Now, I have used Chameleon markers before. The gimmick of the cross-marker blending feels just as useless as ever and is so frustrating because you just have to wait for it to work and guess if it's going to work in the area and time that you've guessed for it to work in. The colours look nice, but the blending is not ideal and the tips are crap. Now, the Montimart, though not absolutely stellar, they're way more affordable and way more straightforward. So I'm absolutely giving this one to Montimart. Next, we have the chisel tip version of the Prismacolor markers coming up against the Anko markers, which are, I believe, a Kmart brand. The Prismacolor markers, as you can imagine, performed comparatively similar to their brush markers, except that it lacks versatility and accuracy with the chisel tip. Meanwhile, the Anko would actually hold their own against the Prismacolor really closely, except that it only comes in a range of 12. So at the end of the day, it's going to go to the Prismacolor. Next, the Ohuhu markers face up against Mapexi. The Ohuhu was surprisingly great in quality, blend, color tone, and a fantastic brush tip, where the Mapexi were more expensive, less exciting in how they went down, and extremely uncomfortable to hold. This one goes to Ohuhu. Next, Little Tipsy versus La Plume. Little Tipsy had exactly the same housing as the Montimart markers. Now, the performance was mediocre at best, but one of the 6 markers was completely unusable. Probably a manufacturing issue. Either way, this marker is disqualified. Lucky La Plume is the winner by default. Now we kick it up a notch with Copic Classics versus Touch markers, one of the cheapest and most common alternatives. Now the Copics, as you can imagine, certainly come out on top here. I gotta say, the Touch markers really held their own in this fight. Massive respect there for Touch markers for people on a budget. Of course, at the end of the day, I gotta give it to the Copic Classics. It's time for Tria to take on A&Art head-to-head. Now, Tria surprised me as the first marker I've ever seen or used that has 3 tips. I was really excited when the consistency was the best of any marker I've used yet, but the quality of the nibs and tips did sort of let me down later down the line. Though A&Art had some pretty nice color consistency and is more affordable, Tria comes out on top. ProMarker now faces off against MemOffice, and ProMarker, I gotta say, really blew my expectations with consistency and with its blends. It pretty much left MemOffice in the dust. Now, Ironlac coming up against Art Marker was an interesting one. So where both brands do perform consistently, I'm going to give this one to Art Marker for being a little more affordable and having a slightly better bullet nib. Oh my god, this is insane. All right, next we've got Milo.
Next. Dude, it's late. Time to go home.
Is it?
Oh, shit.
Okay. I'm not even halfway. Let's cut to tomorrow. I am ready to get back into it. Obviously, I have twice as much left to do as I've already done. So to make sure you pay attention, I'm gonna hide somewhere a $50 Amazon gift card code. So don't take your eyes off the prize. We've got a lot of focusing, a lot of fighting left to do, and there's a little goodie snuck in there for one of you to win if you're paying close enough attention. Premier Sketch versus EOEO markers had Premier Sketch performing better than the EOEO markers with better colours and consistency, where the EOEO markers generally had drier chisel tips and not as nice colours. With Arteza markers coming up against CaliArt markers, these were really closely matched with the same tips and very similar results. I prefer the consistency of the CaliArt markers, but the Arteza had a better range, better case, and were higher quality in general, so Arteza gets the win. The line-on markers didn't feel as good as the supermarkers to make art with, however the supermarkers were just so bad quality that in the end I felt the win had to go to the line-on art markers. Colorona markers had a very frustrating form factor and case. Passable quality, but at the end of the day, the Nuvo were way more comfortable to use and with a better result. In the fight against Modica markers and Alpha brush markers, Modica markers really struggled to hold their own. Patchy quality and blends where the Alpha brush markers had a much more superior result. We've hit a slight stumbling block. The Pro markers, I only have the 4 markers, but the Pro markers are better than a lot of them. So we're gonna need more markers so that later in the matches, they're a bit more evenly weighted against its competitors. And these were supposed to be Staedtler markers, but they're not because I got them from AliExpress and they sent touch markers. This is the nearest thing that my local office shop has, which is a Staedtler like permanent markers.
Are you okay?
I think the fumes are getting to me, I'm gonna be honest. Either the fumes or the tone of aggression in the fight thing, but it keeps it exciting. I gotta get back to work. Next, it was twin markers against Copic Chow. Twin markers were done a bit of a disservice because when I threw the touch markers across the room, I misplaced one of the twin markers, which happened to have the exact same shell. So at the end of the day, I only had 2 twin markers to work with, but they have the same build and ink as most of the cheap brands, so they never stood a fighting chance against the Copic Chow, which have a fantastic Copic ink quality, beautiful blending, and of course the amazing Copic brush tip. Copic Chow was the winner here. It's time for Staedtler to fight Milo. Staedtler is more of a traditional permanent marker, so not great with artistic applications, unlike Milo, which held up really well, had a nice brush tip and some good colours. Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers faced off against Yosu's fine colour markers. I did feel there was a loss without a chisel tip on the Spectrum Noir, but the brush tip was great at getting detail and fill, light and shade, where the fine colour had good colours but was horrible in finer tuned applications, so this one goes to Spectrum Noir. Studio 71 fought against the Art and Fly markers. Studio 71's colours were overall a little bit better and it was more accurate with the brush tip, where Art and Fly was just a little lackluster in all those elements, so Studio 71 wins this round. I'm hitting a problem and I'm stopping the train just to explain it because I have to rearrange some stuff. This is supposed to be smart colour art. Problem is, it's touch new. I haven't done touch new yet, that's fine. There's lots of touchy markers. The markers are touch markers. We've done touch markers, that's why I felt free to throw them, because they're everywhere. They sneak in because they sell a different brand of touch markers. Touch 10, touch 7. It doesn't matter, they're interchangeable, they're the same thing. They just sometimes put a different label, but usually they're just the same thing. So touch markers I've done against Copic, and Copic came out on top. Every time I see a canvas bag, my heart sinks a little bit, because they're probably gonna be the same thing. This is doing my head in. I am gonna have to rearrange this a little bit. It's taken a lot of work to do the ones I've done so far, and I'm losing my mind doing all of them. I've got 2 that I'm eliminating because they are exactly the same. By the way, these markers, they're all different brands. It's the same housing, so whatever company makes those shells, they've got multiple deals happening. They're the clever ones in the mix. It's touch! Oh my God! Oh, and these are touch twin markers that I found buried in my cupboard. These are a brush tip one. I'll do these ones as well. We have an empty spot. What do? We've got these black markers. These are also Spectrum Noir. They're like their original markers because they have a chisel tip. That'll do. And with that done, I don't have to rearrange the matches, and every single pairing has a unique marker I haven't done before. We've fixed it. We've fixed it. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, so next the Spire Colour faced against Prism, which, I mean, the Spire Colour was pretty standard as far as a budget marker goes. My first impression was, what an amazing brush tip, and surprising that it has a felt tip, and then it doesn't blend, because it's water-based? How the hell did this get into the competition? God damn it! Alright, Aspire wins by default. Next! In the fight between Spree markers and Touch Cool. Spree was pretty stock standard, but Touch Cool were a little bit better. As much as it pains me to say, I am unbiased, even at the cost of my own sanity and pride. Touch Cool wins. Okay, there, I said it. Like, can we just move on? Next, we have the Touch New versus the Blick. This was a pretty close one, I've got to be honest. Touch New hits pretty hard, great value and decent quality, but Blick's blends were really appealing, and the consistency was the best. So I'm going to give this one to Blick. Next match, Ultra New came up against Copic Sketch, oh boy. I feel bad for old new markers because frankly, they held up really well. But honestly, Copic Sketch are Copic Sketch, and as you can see, they have the reputation they have for a reason. The consistency is incredible, the blends are great, and with super premium brush and chisel tips, it is the winner. In the fight between Vigor Fun markers and Alpha Design, both were really pretty good quality, had bullets and chisels and good quality ink. The Alpha Design felt just a bit more premium and gave me a bit more accuracy, so Alpha Design wins. Next up, the Touch brush markers versus the Kent that I discovered today. By the way, the Kent have the same friggin' shell as those other markers! Oh my god. I nearly didn't do this round, but I'm only doing this once, so I just did it. The Touch Twin brush markers kept being dry and not very accurate, and the Kent markers were better, so the Kent markers win. Enjoy it while you can, Kent. This is as far as you're probably getting. Next, the Spectrum Noir Classics versus the Crayola. Spectrum Noir were bulky and uncomfortable, and I didn't have many colors to really try it out. While I assumed the Crayola would get the free win, we accidentally got the water-based version instead of the alcohol-based version. So I'm gonna put this round on pause. Bianyo versus Artify. I swear to God, I've seen the same shells on different markers so many times I'm going insane. They were both pretty good, and even though the Artify doesn't have a brush tip, I'm going to give the win to Artify because it was better performing in all categories. In Art Alternatives versus Super Doodle, Art Alternatives basically disintegrated after being used for about 4 seconds. Now, of course, I couldn't see the branding of Art Alternatives on the packet or the marker, and I found out I was sent a dud. So unfortunately, Art Alternatives are not included in the mix, and whatever the hell this marker is f***ing disqualified. Super Doodle wins by default. They're not that bad. They're not that innovative because they're the same goddamn shell on every marker. Now, I can't rip on Super Doodle too much for having the same shell as other markers because Keyboard and Art Deco both have the same shells. Art Deco had consistently better quality and blends. Keyboard did have a little more color range, but smelt worse, so I'm going to give this one to Art Deco. And don't judge me for sniffing markers at 10:30 PM. It's day 4 again. And last but not least, Artix against Masters Touch had Artix winning, both for better consistency and marker blend and marker housing case originality. Do you reckon it's worth just ending on that, or? That's round 1. Well, it's not over. I need the alcohol-based Crayola alcohol markers. I'll see if Office Works is open.
Dude, wait.
I can't finish round 1 until I have the alcohol.
After midnight.
Round 1's not over until I have the alcohol markers.
Again.
They open at 7 AM.
I'll go.
Could you grab them in the morning?
I'll go.
Okay.
Get some rest.
Okay.
Are you coming?
No, I'm just gonna wait for the Crayola. Don't forget the alcohol, the Crayola ones.
All right. Good morning. Jazza? Hello? Look. What the f?
So I needed like a mask for sleeping because the light gets in and...
Yeah,
hey, you got the markers? Sweet! Thank God.
Okay, yeah, I got...
It will be finished.
Thank God.
All right, let's give these Crayola ones a go. They're really good. They're performing better than the classic Spectrum Noir things. Just a brush tip, but really good tip and good colors and blend. So Crayola wins, yay! Well, after all that, we've finished round 1. I've used every marker. I've used every marker. I have used every marker, and I'm the only one dumb enough to do it. Now, we've run out of time as to what we can do in this video, but in the very next video that comes out on this channel, you're gonna get some answers, and they're gonna be exciting. I'm gonna fairly rapidly eliminate until we have 4 finalists, and each of those 4 finals will go head-to-head creating an epic artwork. But just to have a little bit of fun with it, I am going to choose one commenter from this video who chooses their final 4 and the number 1 winner to be the winner of a Nintendo Switch Lite. All you have to do is leave a comment now. The next video that comes out on this channel is not only going to announce the winner of the marker battle, but also the Switch. And then on top of that, I'm going to hide another Amazon gift card in the next video. So if you're there early enough, you might score another $50. And if you don't know what to look for, it looks like this. It's just the code's on the other side because I'm hiding it from you, you Cheeky bastards. I've laser cut and engraved because I have a laser cutter now. Another $50 Amazon gift card for the first person who can get in the video and claim it. So make sure you're subscribed and you have your notifications turned on so you get in nice and early. And speaking of being subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you can see the epic outcome of this phenomenal battle, which has never taken place before. Like this video because, as you can imagine, this has been a colossal effort, not only in using all the markers and being as fair as possible, because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna do this, it might as well be for a reason, and I'm hoping it'll help you out. And if it has helped you out, or if at least you were entertained, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more of this fun. Otherwise, that is it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.